Okay, folks, it is time. We are back. It is 9 p.m. East Coast Standard Time, as they say over here in the States. I am your host, Forrest Londa, at USAEFC on all socials. Pretty sure all. I'm not talking about Facebook, but who cares? And then with me today is one of my favorite people in the world, Jacob Richie. Fireworks. Oh, he just went out. There he is. Good timing.
Uh,
Jacob, say hello to the people.
Hello, people. I'm happy for us to be back on here. It's been a couple weeks now.
It's been a
I
while,
just
honestly.
talked a good word with my good friend Forrest.
Yeah. So we've had about 2.5 minutes to catch up with each other. So now we get to do even more of that with y'all for the show today. Not looking to stay on here too long. Just, you wanted to hear our voices so bad. So here we are to grace you with their musical prowess. I don't know. I lost the words I was going to say for that. We're going to be talking a little bit about what we think the best. We'll start off with what we think the best performance of the season has been so far. I'm excited to hear Jacob's take on this because my take I feel like is fairly different from everybody else's that I've at
Mm,
least heard talk about this. We're going to look ahead to Manchester United on the Monday. We've already had like what 3, 4 Monday night games this season so far. Like
yeah, we've had several.
it's nonstop, and we always seem to lose or draw them. We don't seem to win them. But hopefully, under the lights of Old Trafford, everything can do something. We will finish. We will talk a bit about what we are looking. The links we've been had so far. The links we've had. The links we've had so far with some players for January. What our real biggest priority position is to both of us, and then maybe a little bit about how plausible some of those links are. There's two in particular we'll talk about. And then we'll do a quick Q&A, and then we'll be out of here, and y'all can go to bed because this is the only reason you stay up, right? So, without further ado, best performance of the season. So, in our outline here laid out 5 games that I felt were up for the candidacy of best performance of the season. It's Brighton at home, 2-0 win. Wolves away, 3-2 win. Aston Villa at home, 0-0 draw. 2-1 win over Crystal Palace and the 2-0 win over Fulham about over a week ago now. Jacob,
Mm.
thoughts?
Oh well, okay. See, I've had approximately 36 minutes to consider this and ponder it very carefully,
Only 10
and
less than me.
and initially I wanted to say Brighton, right? And then I thought about it a little more. I noticed you had Villa at home on there, which I think is a sneaky, sneaky, sneaky candidate for best
Mm,
performance of the year, despite a 0-0 in a game we just absolutely dominated statistically.
mhm.
I think that's in definitely chunks. That's some of the best football we've played all year. As far as feel good factor, though, I'm probably going to say Palace. I thought for me at least, I mean, that was a pretty high Grealish's first goal. I thought we played pretty well that game against a team that hadn't lost since the American Great Depression. I mean, so
The first one.
the first one, please, the first one. So I would say Crystal Palace, a close, sneaky Aston Villa, maybe second, but Palace for me.
Interesting. Yeah, the Palace game was a tough one, and I found it tough when I really thought back to these performances we've had this season, where we've won or drawn, and it's not been the abysmal, stale, stodgy, stale performance that we had against West Ham at home, or the rather lucky draw we had against Sunderland away. I thought most of our performances this season were pretty Jekyll and Clyde, Jekyll and Hyde, Jekyll and Clyde, Jekyll and Hyde. I know my classic literature. Anyways, um, I think it was always a tale of two halves where we performed well one half and not perform well the other. And it would kind of flip flop between whether it was a first half or second half performance.
Yeah.
I think maybe Brighton at home was more of a rounded game. I think we fed off the energy of the crowd very well that day. Brighton
Hmm.
had their chances in the second half specifically, but we were able to stave them off and then obviously get that killer second goal. Um, Wolves away was probably our best obviously it was our best scoring performance of the season, probably our best offensive performance of the season in terms of the way we were playing, the kind of goals we were creating. Everything was very silky and smooth, a lot of little through balls and 1-2s. We obviously got caught out a couple times defensively. First, I think both times were just from ball watching, just from players just checking out a little bit. So that was, and definitely in the second half, we seemed to, after we scored that third goal, step off just a little bit. And that was after substitutions. But for me, and I put it in there for a reason, our best performance of the season was that 0-0 draw against Villa at home. Most people would not look to a game where you draw against an opponent at home and say that was a really good performance. But in terms of a full, complete performance against what has proven to be a very good Villa team, they have had quite a resurgence here in this last 5 games or so of the season. I would say that it is for me our best performance. And so if you just go and look at the stats, we had 20 shots, only 2 on target, which is the reason we lost that game. And there's been a big thorn in our side so far this season is our shot conversion percentage. But we were just all over Villa. They had 7 shots, 1 on target. I mean, they had no chance. Everything we did, we negated them though. If he had 10 corner kicks, I mean, we were all over the place in this game in terms of having should have won it. I think the Fulham home game for me was a close second. I don't think, again, that was necessarily a great performance either. I think Fulham were very, very poor. And that probably helped us out a bit more in the same way that Palestine helped us out a bit. But I do think that Villa game was a high point for this team in terms of the way they can play and the way they can some other teams, even if they caught a pretty good Villa team at a bad point in their season.
Yeah, and also just while you were talking about it, it made me remember that game. Emi Martinez was just. I think we even talked about it on this pod. Emi Martinez was outstanding in that. There's a moment that Michael Keane just scores 9 times out of 10. It's just a fantastic save, and I think if he scores that, it's a no-brainer best performance of the season. So, I think that's a pretty good take, honestly.
Yeah, and those are the fine margins of games in Premier League. You have very good players who can pull out moments that are game-winning or game-saving moments. So, well, we've had our say. That's enough about that. I just wanted to talk about that because I'd heard a few people mention it through other podcasts and on social media, and it got me thinking and it got me looking. But we will now look ahead to our next very exciting Premier League matchup against the mighty Manchester United, a fairly resurgent under Ruben Amorim over the past few weeks. They've gotten a few wins. They've gotten a few more consistent performances. So we might be catching them at a bad time. But we can dive right into statistics. They're only 3 points ahead of us in the table. Only won one more game. They've scored a few more, but conceded a few more. A lot of our statistics, honestly, overall, are really, really similar. What do you make of that initially, Jacob? I'll call you Richard.
Well, having seen some Man United this year, and admittedly not as much as maybe in the past, I don't think that how they play is entirely dissimilar from how we play. I think that we have maybe struggled a little more than in the past couple seasons with keeping goals out. And I mean, we've still only conceded 13, but I think has a lot to do with us not being a very prolific goal scoring team. But then I think Man United is kind of the opposite side of the same coin. They score a lot more goals, but then they chuck in a few more as well. But Mbuemo's been really, really good for them. Bruno Fernandes continues to be very solid. Harry Maguire has been good, and so has De Ligt at the back. I mean, and like you said, I think they've found something under Ruben Amorim, and it's a tough time to get them, especially away.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So Casemiro has had a decent season so far. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is always a player that is very dangerous. And then Mason Mount, I think, has been somebody who's kind of come into his own a little bit for them in terms of just getting himself back playing and playing consistently. He is a good player and the kind of player that worries me a little bit. He's the kind of player that seems to score against Everton or likes to have a performance against a team like Everton.
Right.
Yeah, Delict, McGuire, Lenny Yoro, I believe, has had a pretty good part to play in their season so far.
Hmm.
And then yes, I mean Mbuemo, they have Shesko, who's still kind of finding his feet in English football, and then Cunha, who even though maybe he has not had the best scoring start to his life at Manchester United, I mean I've watched a few Manchester United games. The guy's dynamite. He's still a fantastic player.
Everywhere.
He's just missing a little bit of that final touch, but it'll come for him, and it'll really drive and the ball will
Hmm.
drop for him. There is a lot. I don't want to say a lot to be worried about, but this could be a really tough game for Everton. Um, we're still going to be without Jared Branthwaite,
Yep.
which is a given. Doesn't seem like there's any other injuries in the squad at the moment that are of note, other than like a Nathan Patterson. Um, so it's going to be really interesting to see what David Moyes ends up doing in this game. I think maybe the one question that we're all going to be asking and is going to be the biggest talking point is he going to keep James Garner at right back?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I think my hunch is that this game is there's a result in this game for us if our midfield plays very well because I mean, we talked about Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, but Ahmad's also just an explosively good football player. And I mean, I think that the midfield performance is going to be really important here. I think Idrissa Gueye is going to have to be out of his mind. I think Dewsbury Hall is going to have to be out of his mind. And to get a very long way away from your question and come back, I think this is a great moment to put James Garner right back and, dare I say, give Tim or my favorite wizard Merlin Roll a shot in that midfield against what is a very extremely strong midfield 3 or 4 that United has and see what happens. Because I really think that Garner is just a right back. I think he's better at right back. And honestly, as a non-Tim believer, he's been very good in cameos, and I think Merlin has been very hot and cold. So I guess I'd flip it back on you and say, if we were gonna put Garner at right back, who would your midfield team be?
I would probably say Ghana Gay, Eric Bunham, and Dewsbury Hall, and move Dewsbury Hall a bit back.
Hmm.
Um, I'm really a little certain that he's going to put O'Brien back at right back for this game because what I think he'll do is have us set up pretty deep and have us set up to defend and maybe hit on the counter. Well, I mean, yes, eventually we'll have to hit on the counter because you have to have some sort of attacking plan. But I'm not totally confident that David Moyes is going to approach this game with the necessary bravery or the necessary gusto that it takes to come into this game and want to get a result.
Hmm.
Um, I'm worried that he will revert to type that Garner, Ghana, Dewsbury Hall will make up the midfield. Grealish and Die. I would hope that Barry continues to keep his place because he deserves to. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just going to be a bit of a slog. It'll be the kind of game where we really hope we can get to halftime at 0-0 so that we can come out in the second half with a chance to steal a goal and get a smash and grab. I think that's going to be his mentality towards this game, and that is a little bit of a worry for me because that sort of mentality is one that we've seen David Moyes implement in away games against Big Six sides for 20 years now. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's just a bit too negative. It's just that little bit too negative that if a team like Manchester United wants to come out and make an impact and make a statement, they can come
Hmm.
out and play quick and catch us off guard in the first 20 minutes and score a goal or two, and then the game's out of reach. We it's trying to find that balance between wanting to be a bit more expansive and sitting back and letting them just take the space that they want to.
Yeah, and look, I mean, if there was money to be placed, I think you're right. I think O'Brien reverts back. But I mean, if you want empirical evidence that this should not be the path that we take forward, O'Brien at right back. Let's just use the last two, moderately good football teams. Some might say Tottenham and Manchester City. Jake O'Brien at right back. We lose 3-0 and 2-0, one at home, one away. We persist with Jake O'Brien at Sunderland. Good first half. We end up drawing. And then Fulham. The attack is vibrant. It comes to life. Granted, Fulham not as good as those other guys, but who's playing right back, Forest? It's James Garner. And I'm willing to stick my neck out for James Garner and say that I do not think he's as bad of a defender as I think some people believe him to be. And I think that the the bit that you give in defense, I think he gives this in attack. I'm not a manager. I don't get paid millions of dollars. I would go for it though.
Sure. I mean, I would like to see Garner there too. It would be a worry for me because I know that immediately he would get targeted.
Yeah.
And we saw that there were a couple times where Kevin for Fulham was able to get by him. I see that.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Okay, we're back. Cool. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough either way.
Yeah.
I would really like to see us have some possession to get the ball to Grealish and die in good spaces and make use of space that we should be able to find against United on the counter. It's just going to be about the bravery. It's going to be about, look, United have a good crossing rate percentage, or 33% to our 22% right now as well. They're a team that has the ability to attack us in multiple ways, especially with a creative player like Bruno Fernandes in the middle of the park. Who, if you give him a little bit of space, a little bit of time, he's going to find the people he needs to find to be able to get the ball where it needs to go for them to score.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention very good crossing fullbacks. There's two center backs that like a goal as well. I mean,
it's going to be
the threat comes from all over. So,
yep. It wouldn't be a total surprise to see us have a bit of a stinker in this game. Yeah. I think the main thing would be that we don't get too down on ourselves and look ahead. Because who do we have? We have Newcastle after that, right? That's our next game.
Yeah, I think Newcastle at the Hill Dickey.
The HD. Get them down. Yep. At Newcastle, then we got our old nemesis Bournemouth, and it's good. It's what'll be good is even if this game's a bit of a stinker, right? And say we lose 3-0 or something, it's a quick turnaround. We're going Monday to Saturday. And then we go to Tuesday. So there is every opportunity to put this game behind us real quick, get a win against Newcastle, and work hard to get a result against Bournemouth. Right. And you've got Forest at home, we've got Chelsea away. Get into the meat of December. There's quite a few winnable games. I would say up to 3 winnable games for us in December, and then we have to just move on from that. And continue to get into January, see if we can sign somebody who we can go ahead and move on to that. Honestly, well, actually. Before I get ahead of myself, because that was just a good transition moment, let's get a score prediction for this game on Monday.
Oh, man. It pains me to predict a loss. It's just deeply intrinsically I disagree with it. But 3-1.
Okay.
3-1 United. I think we have a really good first half, and I think they hit us for a couple late.
I think 3-1's really fair. I'm gonna say 2-2.
I like it.
I don't want to think that we'll lose. I think it's not going to surprise me if we do. Yep. But I like to think that we're going to put in a bit of a performance here, even though we've been a little flat after these international breaks. I'd like to think that we're going to put on a bit of a performance here, and come out and just make a very slight statement that we're not quite here just to make up the numbers. There's a lot of this season left to be played. The league's very tight.
Mm-hmm.
And look, Manchester United have been shipping goals. They've got 1 clean sheet all season.
Yep.
They're pretty good at home. They've won 4, lost 1 at home.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be some pushover game, but there are goals in this game for Everton. And I think the main thing, it's just something's got to drop. But we have to convert some chances.
Yeah. Look,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was say I'm going to leave you with a positive note. Tiernaberry scores. You heard it first.
Scores.
He's scoring. He scores a goal. It might be the first goal of the game. He's going to score a goal. I feel it.
I think Element and Die scores for sure. Maybe even Jack Grealish if he's feeling a little motivated against Manchester United. But who knows? Him being a City player and all. Who knows?
Right.
I mean, honestly, who knows? It wouldn't surprise me too much if Grealish scored. But let's see a performance, Everton. Come on. All right. So now we can move on to just the small transfer rumors. There's one persistent one and one new one that came out today. I don't know if you saw, Jacob.
I
Um,
did.
yeah, which is very interesting, very
Mm-hmm.
well timed, I suppose, after
Mm-hmm.
what happened yesterday, which is awesome, by the way.
Mm.
But so even Ivan Tony's continue to be linked. These links are pretty persistent, and I would assume they're going to continue into January until somebody like West Ham or Fulham or Bournemouth come and scoop him up
Yep.
because they're London teams. Um, but the real interesting one, which doesn't seem to have a lot of weight in it based off the publication that it came from, it was Scott McTominay coming to Everton in January for 63
62
million
million.
pounds 63,
Yeah.
62 million. It's like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
that's a bit silly. So let's just get down to brass tacks. Are we going to break our transfer record for Scott McTominay
In January, absolutely
in
not.
January? Yeah.
And it's so funny because 2 years ago, not even Everton fans in the middle of relegation fights back to back would have touched Scott McTominay with a 6 foot pole, and they would have laughed you out of a room had you suggested it. And this guy has just revolutionized his career in a way that few football players ever have, and it's really incredible. And don't get me wrong, I would love, absolutely, be thrilled to have him. 62 million pounds in January is not happening. Zero
He's
percent
29 years
chance.
old.
Yeah, it's not happening.
I totally
No way.
understand that. He's a very big. I mean, he's pretty big, right? Hold up. Let me make sure. I'm pretty sure he's a big guy, Scott McTominay. I'm gonna make sure of this. Yeah, he's
Six
six
four.
three. All right, 6'4", 6'3". He's a big
Yeah,
guy.
big dude.
He's a big
Big dude.
midfield presence, which seems to be what David Moyes is really looking for. Obviously, when he
Hmm.
was going for somebody like Thomas Suchek,
Yep.
maybe he feels like he's got that Merlin role, even though he hasn't really played quite much yet.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's not going to happen in January. I don't think it happened in the summer. I like Scott McTominay. I'm also really, really, really excited and happy for Scotland qualifying for the
Hmm.
World Cup. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love Scottish people. Got a lot of good Scottish friends. Shout out to Mary, um,
Mm.
who I know had a great night last night celebrating that awesome, infamous moment for Scotland. Obviously,
What a
Ireland had the
game.
playoff as well. Yeah, what a fantastic game. Some fantastic goals, a fantastic commentary as well.
Hmm.
And it's really great that it happened at Hampton. It happened in Scotland, so that the whole freaking country could just come together and
Yeah.
just get wasted for one night
Yep.
together. It's just
Yep.
awesome. Brilliant, brilliant for the Scots. But yeah, and then there's not really any other transfer rumors yet. So I think really the only question I have in terms of transfers is and one we've talked about before. But what as the season continues on, what continues to be the need, or has that the position changed for you of what Everton need to fill in January?
It's got to be a fullback. It's got to be a right back. I think if you're gonna spend semi-serious money in January, I normally absolutely just hate the January transfer window as a concept. As far as available players go, I think you overspend for a worse quality of player, generally speaking. But
Yep,
World Cup cycle, there are going to be a lot of players needing game time.
correct.
There are good fullbacks out there, Lewis Skelly, and I mean,
Mhm.
so right back. And as an aside, I might be crazy, but I would absolutely rip a nice Saudi man's hand off for Ivan Tony. I just think he would instantly be really good in the Premier League again, and I cannot be convinced otherwise. If we don't sign him,
Mm.
somebody else is going to, and he's going to score 20 goals.
It would be really nice to sign Ivan Tony.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I agree. It needs to be a fullback for the true balance of the squad, and so that
Hmm.
I like James Garner there. I do think he's a bit better of a midfielder, but I think that also he's maybe the balance of midfield isn't quite there when it's him and Gay and Dewsbury Hall.
Yep.
Um, you know, so much of the season still to play, so we're only seeing the first beginnings of this, and these are especially with Dewsbury Hall and the way that it's a style of play difference between what we're doing now.
Hmm.
Um, sorry, I'm just reading this comment. This is interesting. So we had Erwin Koeman say that he doesn't want to see us sell out McNeil, and that it wants us to buy another striker. and that we need to start giving Ghibli a chance. Interesting
Hmm.
about the McNeil part. Texas said that McNeil deserves to be playing. He is limited, but after his and Meg's difficulties, Meg's is his partner. He needs to live life as a talented footballer. I mean, I hear you. He deserves to be playing because he's a professional footballer and it's his career, but it's just not going to be at Everton. So I'd imagine a loan move is in his future in January. Maybe not if Moyes doesn't feel like it's if it makes the squad too weak.
Yeah.
Um, at the same time, excuse me, we've got players like Tyler Dibbling on the bench who you need an opportunity. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I mean, Tyler Dibblin's probably going to be starting through December and January anyways once Ndai leaves, unless something drastically changes. So a fullback in January. If it, my issue is that I really don't want us to see to like focus on a striker because we're chasing the shiny, glittery Ivan Tony or whoever on
Right.
loan or for an inflated fee with inflated wages.
Yep.
Guy's 29. Maybe he thinks he can make the England squad. I don't think he's been in with a sniff since he moved to Saudi Arabia. In
No.
all honesty,
No.
so uh, I don't know if he believes he can and he wants to come to the Premier League. He's going to have to show Thomas Tuchel a lot. So it might be really good that if it's something he really wants,
Yep.
and then he wants to come here and show that he can still do it at a very high level, then maybe he's super motivated and comes in and scores 10 goals, 15 goals or something, and has a really mercurial, return to the Premier League at the same time. Maybe he's not motivated and he comes and scores 4 goals and is just a burden on a team for 6 months. Um,
41 goals in 59 games at a lower level, but he scores goals.
he scores goals. He's just been away. As far as the fullback goes, it's going to be interesting. I just don't know who's going to be available. I guess it'll come if that's something we're looking for. The links will come and we'll see. But
Yep.
I don't know if that's going to be a position that we really look to fill in January. It just is a stopgap unless we're desperate. Because
Right.
if we go as we move on, let's go to the Q&A. Actually, there is a question we'll just jump right into well, two questions really, because they pertain to what we're talking about. But do you think with all the hype over Seamus Coleman and his performances for Ireland in this World Cup qualifying cycle as they qualify for the playoff, that he should be getting more minutes? Jacob, what do you think?
No.
Yeah.
No. And I
Tell us,
mean,
tell us why. Tell us why.
listen, the Portugal performance was really good, and I think that I think maybe that occasion and that moment did a lot for him. I imagine that for someone like Seamus Coleman, who has been very prolific in the Irish national team for so long, in that moment at this stage of his career, there is a lot on the line for him personally, and I think that you could see a lot of glimpses of a 10-year ago Seamus Coleman, but I have seen him play for Everton this year more than one time, and I can confidently say that he does not need more. I mean, I think at a Premier League level, in any sort of extended amount of time, it's just kind of past it for him, and I hate that because he's one of my favorite Everton players to ever do it, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, look, I think there's going to be a few opportunities for Seamus Coleman this season to start a game, probably Premier League games for Everton. Um,
Hmm.
but I remember watching him play against Mansfield and being like, wow. And don't even I'm not even going to talk about the Wolves game because he was put at left back. It was craziness that he was even in that game in that team at that
Hmm.
position. But I
Hmm.
watched him against Mansfield. I was like, man, dude looks old
Yeah.
out there. He just looks old, man. He just the movements, like his ability to turn everything. I hate, it's caught up.
Yep. I
And
agree.
that's what it is. It's he will get chances. He's going to play more this season. It's going to happen just because he's part of the squad. So at some point he will get opportunities to come, even if it's just cameos at the end of games, or again if it's desperation, he has to start a couple games.
Yeah.
When that does happen, I expect that he will come out and give his all
Hmm.
that he can physically. So I
Hmm.
have no worries about that. It
No.
will just be the longevity of that won't be there. The consistency even throughout maybe a whole game won't be there for him. And again, how will
Yep.
he even be able to play a full 90 minutes at a Premier League level?
Right.
Um, I mean, look, he's proven in these international games that were pretty important.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it remains to be seen. And then we kind of, just come to this question. We've already kind of talked about this. Do we think James Conner should be our right back permanently? You kind of already told us, but remind us.
Well, I mean, I think in this team that
You cut out.
maybe.
We
Oh,
lost
can you?
Jacob, everybody.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
And he's back. He's back.
I'll just echo the same thing I said earlier. I mean, I think he's a good midfielder and he's a good right back, and I think the only reason we talk about this is because we haven't had a right back in a long time. I personally would probably stick him there. Of course, it leaves us very thin in the midfield, and so you have to consider that too. And I think Jake O'Brien does a good enough job. And my answer to this is hopefully we sign a right back in January if one becomes available for a good price, and we love him very much.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that was sweet at the end. Um, uh, yeah, uh, probably he should play there if we are
Yeah.
really interested in the balance of the team. I think that there is even a case to be made about moving O'Brien to Tarkovsky's spot, but that's probably not going to happen because of
Yes.
Tarkovsky's captaincy and longevity and seniority.
Yeah.
Um, and the fact that he hasn't totally fallen off this cliff. He's at the precipice of this age center back cliff, but he's not quite over the edge yet. Um, it sucks for Jake O'Brien because he obviously wants to be playing in the middle of the park. But look, I mean
Mm-hmm.
he's playing there for Ireland and playing well enough, and it's
Yep.
it's just going to be a case of win for him at Everton. Hopefully, at
Yeah.
least, because I do like Jake O'Brien and think he's a very good player. I do again. I still do expect him to start against Manchester United. He's going to continue to play at right back for the foreseeable future, and that'll just kind of be his lot until things change at the club and we do sign right backs and the squad moves on.
Yeah. Don't be shocked if it's him and Branthwaite in the middle next year, because that's what I fully expect it to be for next year and a couple more after, probably.
Hopefully, yeah, Brathwaite sticks around. Yeah. Um, Next question. So, former Everton striker Joe has recently been arrested, and I actually meant to look this up. What that was for.
I believe that I saw this, but I can't remember what happened
It was
exactly.
for courts demand debt repayments.
Ah, ah,
Oh, poor guy.
unpaid
Um,
child support.
yeah, probably.
That's what it
I catch
says.
him 30,500. Yep. Oh, wow.
That'll
I'll see
happen.
child support payments. What how many payments let me see he has? All right, we're not going to get into all that. So favorite random Everton player. I feel like this question comes up at least once every month, once every couple months, of like who your favorite random Everton player is, and I just sit here and try to pick one out of my hat that I can
Yeah.
think. It's funny. I went somewhere the other day and I was wearing an old Phil Jagielka jersey, and somebody like, "Oh man, Jagielka, that's a deep cut." And in my mind, I'm like, "Dude, I like." He's just retired a few years ago. It didn't
Not a
seem
deep cut for us.
right, exactly. But the guy was like, "Oh, but Jagielka, man."
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, random Everton. I mean, there's just so many you could pull out from, like obviously like the cult heroes and cult villains like a Royston Drenthe or
Uh-huh.
Stricularski on the different extremes of that spectrum. Um, I think I'm gonna give a shout out to Sidibe because he's a right back, and he was a right back for us, and he wasn't. I don't think he was awful. I mean,
And and he gave us one of the funniest Everton sound bites of all time as well. So shout out to him for that.
that's your man, Sidibe. Or when he tried to go on the pitch with only one sock on.
Yep.
Man, gosh, Everton's just so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Um.
Digital. I can't remember how to say his first name.
Yeah. It's like
Gibber,
Jibril. Jibril.
It
Yeah.
might be Gabriel.
Something like that.
Regardless, your pick.
Oh man, I don't. I, I'm gonna. I feel like my answer changes every time, but for some reason,
Good.
as soon as I saw this question, I immediately thought of Bernard scoring that just insanely insane goal against West Ham. So my
Oh,
little tiny Brazilian magician Bernard. Random Everton player of the
Bernard,
day.
Bernard. He just was never ever gonna make it.
No, he was not.
I mean, the guy was just a paperclip. Just you blow him over.
Man, that was that transfer window. We signed like 8 players on a free, right? That was the Andre Gomez, Yerry Mina, Bernard window.
I think Luca Dean too. Like
Yep.
it
A lot
was a
of
lot of
ex-Barcelona guys.
Barcelona, exactly. Like
Uh-huh.
literally just like went to Barcelona. Like, oh, how many guys you got? You trying to get rid of? I'll take them all, thanks. It's like,
Like our best window ever somehow, and it was just a bunch of washed up Barca guys that we took a chance on.
oh, did you see? Speaking of washed up Barca guys, did you see the interview with Jared De La Feu?
I did not.
No, so I don't think I don't remember if it was a club who did it or somebody did an interview with Jared De La Feu, but all he was talking about was Everton. It was just like it must have been the club because the club's social channel shared clips from it, but he was just talking about how special Everton were to him, how he like really wants to play another game for the club again. He said like I want to play another game for Everton, and
Man, that guy loves Everton. He's never stopped talking about Everton. So
I know. Well, this that it was a really probably for him just as a human being, a real pivotal moment in his development as a from childhood to adulthood, going on loan to Everton, right? It was a real big step for him to go from playing for Barcelona's B team to playing for a Premier League outfit in a pretty consistent basis. And I mean, I just remember him being so electric. I remember I was over at Goodison for the Derby game that year. We drew 3-3. And I just remember he came on at halftime and he was just immediately within the first 60 seconds, he was driving at the heart of Liverpool's defense and putting them on the
mhm.
back foot. And she probably, honestly, I remember that game vividly because he probably should have scored 2 or 3 goals. He just had these opportunities, and it was always his biggest issue was the end product. It was always his biggest issue was that he just could not stay fit and couldn't like play more than 45 minutes. The guy like, especially
Yeah.
his second spell when we brought him in permanently, the guy was crocked. He just couldn't play. He couldn't get past 60 minutes, and then he was done. He was just physically done. And it
Hmm.
was sucked because he had like a 10 assist season. It was like 6, 7 games in a row he had an assist to Romelu Lukaku. He was just a fantastic technical player, and it is really cool to see how much he loves his club.
Yep.
I didn't want to make him my random player, but because he's not random to me, he's still pretty recent, but he's a good guy. Good guy, Jared De La Feu. All right, last
Good guy.
question. Uh, is there anyone from the U.S. men's national team that you want Everton to sign? There's only two I can think of, honestly.
I'll lead the way then. I want to hear yours.
Tyler Adams or Christian Pulisic.
Yeah, I mean,
Safe choices.
yep, I love both of those guys. I was really big on McKennie before he went to Juve. We got linked with him for a second and it almost happened and it didn't. I thought that would have been great. I think Serginho Dest would be a guy that I don't know necessarily that he'd be a great Premier League player, but
Yeah.
somebody I love. This might be a little bit too far gone. Anthony Robinson,
Hmm.
another guy I really would have liked at Everton. Man, there's a lot of
I mean, he was,
Tim.
but
Yeah, and of course he leaves and turns into just a great
he's
fullback.
yeah.
Yeah, and then Timothy Weah. Timothy Weah, I think if I
Way
could
was
pick
what I'm
any,
thinking about
if I
too.
could pick anybody, I think I'd pick Weah.
I like Balogun as well.
Yep.
I don't think he's really fit for Premier League football per se, but I like him a lot as a player
Yeah, I like Florian a lot.
in the men's national team. Um, Adjumang, I mean, I like him only because he plays for my MLS team, Charlotte. Well, he doesn't anymore. Who did he just sign for? Burnley? Who did he sign for? Sheffield Wednesday? Hold up a second.
Oh, I didn't know he left Charlotte.
He did. Hold up. I remember this now.
Uh,
He's Derby. He plays at Derby County now.
that's right.
Yeah. Oh, he
Is Dean Smith?
scored.
Yeah.
He scored in his last game. Who's their manager? Let's find out. ESPN's not going to tell me. ESPN sucks for anything below Premier League. Uh,
Dean Smith's still at Charlotte. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, we talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Well, he's John Eustace. Yeah, he's had a good time
Mm-hmm.
there. Yeah, he's been a pretty good manager. He's smart enough as a manager to be able to do well in MLS. I think the
Right.
issue is like we've gotten to the playoffs and just not been able to win in the first round. So that's the next step is trying to push this team forward. But
I
we're
feel
not
that.
Charlotte FC. Yeah. So for me, it was Tyler Adams, Christian Pulisic. Again, Tyler
Yeah.
Adams, he's got the Premier League experience. He's in a very
Hmm.
he's plays for a very good team for a very good manager and on Androni Areola at Bournemouth. Um,
Mm.
he's just a solid midfielder, just a good solid midfielder. I would very much enjoy seeing him in Everton's team. And
Yep.
Christian Pulisic has just got the star power and is a good player in his own right. He's obviously already tried it out in the Premier League, and it didn't really seem to work out for him too well.
Yeah.
Uh, and he's loving life at AC Milan right now. The guy's like
Hmm.
there. Is he still top of the scoring charts in Italy? Hold up.
Close, if not.
Serie A top scorers.
Okay.
I did not say your name, Siri.
Check it out.
Uh, where is this? I don't think he's four. He's top is five. Calhanoglu.
Yeah.
I can't say his name. I shouldn't have even tried it. Yeah. Giovanni Simeone still playing? Man, I'm getting them real off tangent here. We're getting the show now because I'm like getting way off target here. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Pretty low beat show. We'll be back next week. Well, me and Jacob and I will talk about before Thanksgiving, but we'll try to do something after Manchester United before Thanksgiving if possible. If it comes down to it, honestly, I'll host a show on my own and you can all just listen to me talking to the void. And that'll just rely on audience participation. Thank you for the comments today, Dex. We appreciate everything. Random player Jellyfish, as in Yelovich. I do miss Nikici Yelovich.
Yep.
And yes, we do know that means that Dwight needs to move on. That's okay. He needs to move on for the best of everybody, and he will get his time to play again and enjoy football again. Because much like Jack Grealish, he probably needs a change of scenery to be able to enjoy his football again and get back to falling into love with the sport he loves, hopefully. So, thank you everybody for joining us. Enjoy your nights. Happy Thanksgiving if you're an American, and if you're not, go drink some tea. All right. Good night. Up the top.